It's the president's expectation, I'll tell you directly, and I'm not being hyperbolic, it's the president's expectation that red state law enforcement agencies are going to be there next week, working side by side with ICE, removing illegal aliens from red states like Idaho. And because I'm known for bringing bad news, I said, I hate to tell you, but the sheriff for the largest county in Idaho says he's got deputies who perform legal work on the behalf of illegal aliens. Never you mind, they're not licensed attorneys, right? Because the left usually will file complaints here in Idaho if you try to practice law without a license. Not that I don't know anything about that. But he says, I've got deputies who have to provide legal services because they've got questions and they've got to help answer these questions about what access to process, what access to courts that these illegal aliens might have. I can't sign one of these agreements. That's the sheriff of the largest county in Idaho. And your legislature had the opportunity to say, you know what, we don't want to hear from you. Enough diddling. Enough delay. We're going to mandate that you enter into 287G agreements. To which I said, in working with a couple of your elected legislators, I said, well, let's find the Solomonic compromise here. Let's not cut the baby in half, but let's give the baby a bottle, right? Let's nurse them along. We won't mandate that you enter into an agreement because that's not how it works. ICE gets to decide if they want an agreement with a local law enforcement agency or not. Some local law enforcement agencies are just too damn small. It's more of a headache for ICE than it is an advantage to the American people. But what we can do is mandate that you try. Your obligation now is to submit an application package to ICE starting tomorrow and say, yes, X county in Idaho, we'd like to enter into a 287G agreement. ICE, you let us know if you want us. Because right now, in a red state that declares publicly for the people of this state, we're not a sanctuary jurisdiction, right? That's what they tell you. The fig leaf bill that's on the record books. We're not a sanctuary jurisdiction. But in practical application of that notion or truth, only 2 counties in Idaho have 287G agreements. There are leftist states in the country who have more local law enforcement working with ICE than you have here in Idaho. So that's immigration, or at least part of it. The other part I want to tell you is I saw Governor DeSantis was here in Idaho just recently. Everyone was thrilled to have Governor DeSantis here, right? The alligator taming beast of the South, the Florida hurricane himself. And everyone likes to point to the Florida model of governance. Look at all these things they've done here. And I saw legislators getting their selfies with them, and everyone was taking pictures and saying, yeah, I'm with this guy. He's so popular. And I had to scratch my head and say, oh, that's fascinating, because it's not like Governor DeSantis is an irreplaceable man. He's not Donald Trump. The model that he did in Florida, you could copy it. You could copy and paste it. In fact, I tried. Working with Representative Hawkins, a few others, we introduced a series of bills that would have replicated some of the good policy that the state of Florida did on immigration policy. One of which is a simple one. I'll just offer this and we can move on to the second point. We hear from fiscal hawks in the legislature all the time. I don't want to get mired in social policy. It's not my hill to die on. I don't want to get mired into this whole thing about immigration, who should be here, who shouldn't be here. That's too controversial. I got to respect the interests of my employers in my district. I'm just here to make sure that Idaho is fiscally responsible, that we cut the budget, and make sure we make our payments. And then you say, well, that's fascinating, sir, ma'am, on JFAC. How much money are we spending on providing health care to foreign nationals? Well, it might be too much, but they don't know. And then you say, well, that same sheriff who wants to pitch you on a bond as taxpayers to build a new prison facility in the largest county here in Idaho says, well, I got to have a bigger facility. I'm running out of space, and I've been stuck with the same facility I've had for 20 years. And then you ask the simple, basic question. I understand the state's getting bigger. we're growing by magnitudes of population. But how many foreign nationals or illegal aliens are in your jail? How many illegal aliens are arrested that the Idaho taxpayer funds to house, feed, and provide health care to in that jail? Well, what's the answer? I don't know. I don't know, because I don't keep track. And the third one, and this one's going to hit home for some of you. We hear all the time, well, we're spending more and more on education, and we've really got to deliver better stats. We've got to have better widgets in this international economy. And we need to block school choice, and we need to increase per pupil spending, and we need to make sure the teachers are happy, and we're going to create all these subsidiary programs, some of them through executive order, to ensure that we achieve those results. Okay, and then you ask again the basic question. I see your per pupil spending number, right? I see your teacher to student faculty ratio. I see your expenditure on new classroom facilities, new gymnasium facilities, all of these sunk infrastructure costs associated with public schooling. How many of your students are foreign nationals or the children of illegal aliens? How much is the Idaho taxpayer paying to fund and educate the children of other nations? And what's the answer? We don't know. We don't know. So I said, okay, we'll have an informed public policy debate in Idaho. It's a really simple issue. We'll require under the law that you start tracking this. And your elected leaders in the Idaho Legislature didn't allow those bills to go forward. They don't want to know. They don't want to have an answer to the question of how much money are we spending on housing, providing health care, education, jail space, mental health space for foreign nationals, the citizens of other countries. So go back to that cornerstone of America First policy. What is it about immigration? This is our country, and the interests of our immigration policy should serve the American people first. Scorecard, Idaho, failing.